What is going on, everybody? It's the Front, and we're here for a SmackDown review for Friday, December 11th, 2020. We are on our way to the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs pay-per-view coming to you next Sunday. Live on the WWE Network from the Tropicana Fields. And honestly, we're in the new Thunderdome in Tropicana Fields. And if you didn't tell anybody they were in Tropicana Fields, you would think they were still in the Amway Center because the thing looks exactly the same. They actually got walls up to simulate what it looked like inside of a basketball arena. It looked just like the Amway Center was set up, so good on them. But of course, as we know, the Amway Center had to abandon the Amway Center because the NBA is coming back 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now. And they're actually in preseason now, or coming up soon, if not today. So they're going to be using those arenas now. But we open up the show with Sasha Banks coming out for a TLC contract with Carmella, as they will be facing off against each other at TLC. Pierce goes over the signing as Banks takes her seat. Pierce goes to introduce Carmella. Banks opens the contract. He's like, "What the hell? Is this your plan? Is this on you? What is going on here?" She opens up the contract signing, and the contract is not there. Somebody has taken the contract. Adam Pearce says, "This isn't on me. I don't know what the hell's going on." We go to the video screen, and Carmella, which, by the way, what the fuck was Sasha Banks wearing? And Carmella, it's like people can say sex doesn't sell, or WWE's not trying to sell these women, use these women's bodies for selling purposes. But my God, Sasha Banks came out with the skimpiest fucking bra on, a jacket over top of it, and some booty shorts. She looked like she was ready for a time at the beach. I know they're in Tampa Bay, Florida. I don't know how close the beach is from that baseball stadium, but yeah, she looked like she was ready for the beach. And Carmella as well, Carmella's out there saying, "I'm the hottest thing on SmackDown," and Sasha Banks is like, "I'll show you, hot bitch." But Carmella says, "Don't worry, I signed the contract as I'm sitting here with my sommelier," she said, she snaps her finger in this well-dressed black gentleman with dreadlocks stands right beside her. She gives him the contract to take out to Carmella. I don't know who the hell this guy is. He was dressed like $1 million, so she hands him the contract and he heads out. Sasha Banks is like, "I figured you would pull these tactics." So the guy finally gets down there. She signs the contract. And Sasha Banks is like, "You know what? Let's not even wait to TLC. Let's have that match tonight." Carmella's like, "You know what? I accept. We'll have it tonight." Adam Pearce is like, "That sounds like a main event. And it's going to happen tonight." So we got that as your main event tonight. For the first time in what seems like forever, Jey Uso will not be main eventing SmackDown in a match. Surprisingly so. But my thoughts of this was, something don't smell right here. Is WWE and Vince McMahon going to punish Sasha Banks because of what happened on Wednesday? Is that TNT's on the 6th of January, AEW is doing night 2 of what they're calling, I believe, was New Year's Bash. And Snoop Dogg is going to be there as a guest. And as you know, WWE is pissed that Snoop Dogg is working with AEW. Though Sasha Banks' theme has Snoop Dogg in it. Snoop Dogg just got done with a clothing line that was only for the weekend, last weekend I believe it was, with The Undertaker. So yeah, WWE not too happy with Snoop Dogg. And because Snoop Dogg is, of course, cousins to Sasha Banks, who do you think they would have the right to punish if they so fit? Sasha Banks. So I was, right after this segment was over, I'm like, they're going to do this, aren't they? He strikes a deal to go do something with AEW. And WWE and Vince McMahon are going to get so fucking petty that they're going to take the title off of Sasha Banks and put it on Carmella right before a week before the TLC pay-per-view. Did they do that? We'll talk about that when we get to the main event. But at this moment in time, I was like, there's no fucking way they go without screwing Sasha Banks over, because Vince McMahon is a petty person. Look at Lana. Her husband cuts one promo on AEW, but tearing Vince McMahon down, and she goes to announce the commentary desk 9 or 10 weeks in a row. I mean, yeah, she might become the WWE, one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions with Asuka. Good grief, I don't even care. See, getting off topic here, but Carmella winning that title, I really don't care. I mean, not Carmella, but Lana winning that title, I really don't care about, because the women's tag team titles have been irrelevant since day one. Who winning the Raw or SmackDown Women's Championship, that's a different story. But that's neither here nor there right now. So, Kayla Braxton is backstage with the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. She asks about Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, calling them funny. Montez talks about tonight's match with Angelo Dawkins, mentions Roode possibly getting involved and getting slapped. The Profits are up and they want the smoke. They talk about having Solo Cups raining down upon them, as they do in their entrance, but they would later on as well. We'll talk about that here in a second. So it's Montez Ford versus Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler and Roode come out. They both cut promos on the Profits and how the title reign is coming to an end soon. The bell rings and they fight here, have a nice little brawl. We go to our first commercial break, but before we do that, Ziggler and Roode are on the outside. Dawkins and Ford are back in the ring. Suddenly, their music hits, and this shower of Solo Cups just rain down, like shoots out near the ring, and lands all into the ring. What the fuck was that about? Now, if Montez Ford was to win this match and they wanted to do that, that is fine. But the fact that they did it during the match tells you who was winning. Anyway. So, we have a match here that goes on for a little bit longer. Ford goes to the top, but he's distracted by Roode, attacking Dawkins as Roode launches Dawkins into the steel ring steps. Ziggler takes advantage, knocks Ford off the top, hits a super kick, which Cole decided to call it the Sweet Chin Music, which it's only called that when Shawn Michaels does it. And he gets the pin, so Dolph Ziggler gets the win. And you're probably thinking as well as I did. Well, they have a tag team title, a non-title tag team title match win over these guys, and Ziggler just won here. TLC is a week from Sunday. Why not put the tag team titles on the line at TLC? Makes sense, right? No. WWE has to have Fox. Fox cannot host SmackDown next week because of the Pac-12 Championship is going to be on Friday. So SmackDown is going to be on FS1. So WWE needs to find something to get people to tune into SmackDown next week. So we're getting Street Profits versus Ziggler and Roode next Friday. It was announced later in the show, but I'm just going to put that out there right now. After the match, Ziggler and Roode celebrated as the music hits. So we still to come a look at what happened between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens last week. Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn is backstage ranting and raving, complaining that how can I not have a shirt? I'm the Intercontinental Champion. How don't I have a shirt? Well, Sami, there are shirts of yours. However, they're from your old babyface gimmick. You were gone for 6 months out of the year, holding out because you didn't want to work because of COVID. Fine, that's all your business, whatever. You didn't come back, and they haven't had time to make you a shirt. Big E comes in, he's wearing his new Think Big shirt, which Big E, I guess, is no longer part of the New Day, but when the New Day needs him, he'll be a part of the New Day at pay-per-views. I don't know. His singlet still says New Day Rocks on the back. His jacket still says New Day Rocks on the back. So he's branching out from the New Day, but he hasn't technically left the New Day, even though he's got new music, a new intro, and he's doing his old powder gimmick that he used to do back when he was the 5 count. The master of the 5 count. 5? I remember that. Do you? Seriously, does anybody remember the master of the 5 count, Big E? When he wanted not 1, 2, 3, but he wanted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for every pin. That was a different Big E, and that was a good Big E. Just needed some seasoning in that Big E. So we have these two back there. Big E's making fun of him. He's showing off his t-shirts. Sami Zayn's a little jealous that he has a t-shirt and he doesn't. So Apollo Crews brings out this white t-shirt that says, "My name is Sami Zayn," with a stick figure with a beard. Sami grabs it, goes to rip it, but he has that air cast on his, that small cast on his arm. I don't know exactly why that is. Maybe he has some kind of injury. So he's like, "You're lucky my hands hurt, because I would just rip this thing in half." He storms off. Big E taunts him. We go back to commercial break. Sami Zayn comes out. He's already in the middle of a rant about how he's defeated Braun Strowman, Daniel Bryan, AJ and Jeff Hardy. He's beaten future Hall of Famers, but he still gets no respect. Which is so totally not true. But he's delusional, but of course that's what it is. He brings up how WWE honored Pat Patterson all week last week. But then this is how WWE treats the current Continental title champion, with no shirts, no merchandise. I don't even care about actually getting the shirt to feed the capitalist monster. It's because I want my people, the people I represent, to show the Intercontinental Champion some respect. Out comes Big E, does the powder thing on the road, at the top of the ramp. Wonder how long that's gonna last. They have this match. Of course, Sami Zayn takes forever to get in. He actually gets counted to 5 before he finally gets in. 7 gets in. Big E beats it. Big E takes control from the early stages of this match. Hits him with a big splash on the apron. Which remember is the hardest part of the ring if you don't count the post. So we come back from break and Sami Zayn is in control, and I don't like. Usually when we see the babyface taking control before the break, always the heels taking control after. But usually they show us this is what happened during the break. We didn't get that here. I don't know why. Big E dances all over Sami's face after Sami tried to do the Big E hip swivel, which fucking Corey Graves says, "Now that's entertaining." I'm like, no. Any guy, I don't care who the fuck it is, it could be the sexiest man in wrestling, doing hip swivels over another man's body is not entertaining whatsoever. When Big E did it this time, he went down low, so he literally teabagged Sami Zayn and hit him with the splash. Now, Sami gets hit with a, what was it? Let me see. Oh, he goes for the haluva kick, and Big E counters into the Uranagi. Now, as I said before, Sami Zayn has that cast on his hand. So he starts, convulsing. He's like, ow, God, ref, come here. Just, playing it up that his hand is injured. Big E finally gets to this guy. Sami Zayn does the dumbest thing ever, slaps him across the face. Was it dumb or was it very smart? He hightails it out of the ring. He's running around trying to get away from Big E. Goes under the ring. Big E, like an idiot, follows under the ring. He gets to Sami Zayn as Sami Zayn gets out the other side at 8. Big E has a hold of him. He's kicking him away. Sami Zayn gets back in at 9. Sami Zayn wins by countout. Sami retreats back to the floor and Big E comes in after him. He says, "Fight me like a man. Come on, fight me." And Sami Zayn walks away as he has beaten Big E. And again, you make Big E look stupid. I mean, WWE has 2 people of color, not named Roman Reigns, who are looking like they're going to be pushing. And Big E and Jey Uso. Jey Uso has been in the main event of SmackDown 5 out of the last 6 weeks or so. What has Big E been doing? Goofing off, playing up this silly game that he's been playing for years, just not showing anyone any. It's just showing that WWE is showing how to book a certified main eventer possibly in Jey Uso, and then they're showing you how not to do it with Big E. I just can't understand how they can expect us to actually take Big E seriously. He dropped the New Day music. He dropped the New Day gimmick mostly. He's back to doing the Master of the 5 count mostly. I wonder when he's going to reintroduce the 5 count. That's got to be something he wants to do. He wanted to get that shit over big time. But I don't know. Big E it's not working for me. And anyone saying there's a rumor that Big E's probably going to be like, he's in the running for Roman Reigns' opponent at WrestleMania, I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't happening. Jey Uso has a better chance of main eventing WrestleMania with his cousin than Big E does. Just saying. Bayley's backstage. She sends her well wishes to Carmella ahead of tonight's SmackDown Women's title match. It says Banks may be champion, but Bayley still runs this division. She's ranting about Banks, calling her the most overpaid, overrated superstar in all of SmackDown history. Please, that's an overstatement of the max, I should say. And that's not counting Bianca Belair. She goes on about Belair, who is standing behind her. Bayley says it's time for the EST to be Gone. Bella confronts Bayley and asks her why her name in her mouth again. When she needs to worry about herself, she insults Bayley and pulls out some receipts of why she's doing better. Who beat the boat? Me, not you. Who is the fastest, the strongest, and all this other stuff? And then Bayley's like, okay, I got it, and she just walks away. So next week on the FS1 show, it's going to be Bayley versus Bianca Belair. Give those women 15 to 20 minutes and just let them have it. I think they would give you one hell of a match. We see Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns walking backstage, back to commercial break, backstage, and we see Carmella getting herself ready, and Kayla Braxton just tearing this woman up and down, arguing her. Carmella says Sasha Banks thinks she's the boss, but Carmella is untouchable. She goes on and says she is what the SmackDown Women's Champion looks like, and tonight she's going to beat the disrespect out of Banks and look sexy as hell while doing it. Calls her messenger guy over Tommy and tells him to set the champagne up at ringside so she can toast in style while watching Banks' tears fall to the ground after their match. They also show us a video package of recent happenings between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. We cut backstage with Reigns and Paul Heyman watching the video, which includes the attack on his cousin Jey Uso. Jey walks up and is like, "Are we good?" He's like, "I'm good. I feel great. Are you good? The family good? Yeah. Are you good? Yeah." While they're talking, Owens' music hits. He heads out to the ring. He's on a mission. Grabs two chairs, grabs a table, grabs a ladder, sets all this stuff up. Jey was like, "Dude, let me go deal with this." Roman's like, "You know where he's at? Go get him." So Kevin Owens is like, "Roman, I know you're watching, so you need to listen to me. I know you fight. You say you fight for your family. I know what that's like, and I want to introduce. My family's not in this industry. They're not going to be there to help me physically help me with this match. So I have a couple friends. Chairs are cold. Chairs are uncaring. Chairs are going to help me pay back every single chair shot that you hit me with last week. And if you're the head of the table, here's another friend of mine, a table." By the way, Kevin Owens did everything he could for this promo. It was just like, really? This garbage? Is Vince Russo back there? Just asking. And then he's like, "Ladder. Rough around the edges. It's going to help me get back to the top where I want to be, and that's the Universal Champion again." All of a sudden, whack to the leg of Kevin Owens. Jey Uso attacks. He beats down on Kevin Owens for a bit, gets him back up, which gets him onto the table, goes for a splash, but Kevin Owens gets back up, smacks him in the face, gets him with the powerbomb through the table, but during this entire scuffle, this brawl, the hit with the leg, his knee was compromised. Absolutely. So Jey Uso may not have taken out Kevin Owens and failed again. For the most part, he did injure Kevin Owens. I know we have a week and a half before we get a week from Sunday, a week and 2 days from TLC, but Kevin Owens is hurt. And it's something they need to play up on going into TLC. That Jey Uso didn't get the job done because that's going to be Roman's job next Sunday. But he did leave his mark by taking down that knee. Roman Reigns does come out. Kevin Owens is like, "Come on, let's fight." Reigns goes to hand the title to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's like, "What are you doing? You don't fight on his time. You fight on yours." You're the head of the table. You make the rules, not this guy. You fight when it's right. So they walk and they leave. Kevin Owens then grabs a chair. It's like, you're done running. You are absolutely done running. So he goes to the back to find Roman Reigns. We go to commercial break. So, if I can get to the right notes here. Riot Squad versus Billie Kay and Natalya. Before we get to that match, I think it is. Hold on. No, it was before that match. Back from break, and Owens is marching through the back of the chair looking for Reigns. Kayla stops him and comments. He goes on yelling about Reigns and the Usos. Reigns suddenly drops him with the chair to the back, sends Owens into some fencing, continues to beat him up. While he's down, Reigns talks some trash and keeps the assault going. He starts pounding on Owens to look at the camera to address Owens' wife and kids and says he hasn't been formally introduced, but I am Roman Reigns, the head of the table, the tribal chief, your tribal chief, the guy who's put the roof over your head, the food on your table, and if you don't talk some sense to your husband, kids, if you don't talk some sense to your daddy, then Reigns is going to be the guy that takes the food off the table. Sees Owens struggling in the background, stops talking, kicks him in the head, looks at the camera and says, have a good night, and walks off. Camera looks down at Kevin Owens. He's got a scuffed up cheek, and I'm like, this motherfucker just had his ass kicked. And you know what? He's going to be back up next week, ready to kick some more ass, and then be at TLC. Then we go to the Riot Squad versus Billie Kay and Natalya. This match came together because Billie Kay is doing this whole, here's my photo and here's my resume. The Riot Squad's, well, if you can find a tag team partner next week, we'll have a match with you. So, here's my thing. You broke up Peyton Royce and Billie Kay in a number one contenders match for the tag team titles months ago. And Billie Kay, for a while there, and I don't know if she still is, was teaming with Lacey Evans. Natalya, not Billie Kay, Peyton Royce was. Billie Kay teams up with Natalya tonight. If your plan for Billie Kay and Peyton Royce was to put them into different tag teams, why break them up in the first fucking place? It makes no goddamn sense. Why would you do that? Why would you break up a team that has been working together, even though they're terrible, if you were just going to put them in different tag teams? I'm not a fan of them, but it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Riot Squad win because Natalya faked getting hit in the face by Billie Kay. Knees to the face, Riot kick, 1, 2, 3, that is that. Who gives a shit? We see a video of Chad Gable helping Otis out with some unusual training. He has Otis put the blindfold on, and he's throwing stuff at him, trying to get him to get his reflexes down. Which, by the way, apparently Vince McMahon threw a fit at the in-ring work of guys like Keith Lee, Dabu Kato, Otis, and Omos, who is AJ Styles' bodyguard. So he's like, to the Performance Center, get your act together or you guys are going back down to NXT. So Drew Gulak and Adam Pearce are holding special sessions on Thursdays and Tuesdays for these guys to get their in-ring work refined. Well, first off, we haven't seen Dabu Kato since he was drafted and since Raw Underground was cut. Almost hasn't wrestled. He's been a bodyguard and hasn't done really anything else, so I don't know what he needs to do. Keith Lee, I don't know what's wrong with him. Otis, I don't know what's wrong with him. I mean, Otis has been wrestling on the main roster for what? 2 years now? I don't know. Vince McMahon just throwing a fucking fit because that's what Vince McMahon does. So, he does all this. He finally catches a ball at the end of it, and he's like, Otis is an alpha. We go backstage to Otis and Chad Gable. Kayla reveals they will face Nakamura and Cesaro tonight. Gable says life has knocked Otis down over and over, but he's gotten what Gable was looking for in talent. Tenacity, endurance, like just getting up every single time he gets knocked down. And of course, Gable's Alpha Training Academy is going to mold Otis from Olympic clay to a sculpture of Michelangelo's. Nakamura and Cesaro come in saying these guys are just a joke, and we move on. Cesaro and Nakamura. By the way, we got some fucking video from Mario Lopez talking about this women's title match at the end of the night. I don't know why they needed to think they needed Mario Lopez. It doesn't do anything. I guarantee nobody tuned in. It's like, oh my god, it's Mario Lopez. I need to tune in to SmackDown because I gotta see what the guy says. Give me a break. Nobody fucking cares. This isn't like Sting coming to AEW and having to sit down or talk with Tony Schiavone for about 2 minutes before he talks to Cody and references that he might be doing something with Darby Allin. Not even close to the same thing. He was on there for like 2 minutes and was gone, and nobody gave a shit. So, this one was weird because Gable would start a match. He leveled Cesaro for a little bit. Tags in Otis. Cesaro and Otis trade holds. And Gable's like, I'm going to do this. I'll tag you in. I want you to do something else like that. Tag me back in. So they do this about 2-3 times. Gable gets tagged in. And then Cesaro just levels him. Over to Nakamura he goes. So they beat the hell out of him for a bit. Gable eventually does tag Otis back in. Otis, like a house of fire, takes everybody down. Has Cesaro in the position for the Caterpillar. And Gable's like, Otis, remember the plan. Tag me in. I'll finish him. He goes up for something. Gets hit with the Cesaro swing. And then Otis just stands on the apron while Chad Gable gets pinned. And they lose. So Nakamura and Cesaro win. Back in the back, we see Otis and Tag Gable backstage. Gable says tonight was a learning lesson. He wanted you to give me the tag, but I didn't really want you to tag me. You had the win. What were you doing? See, he's teaching Otis that he's showing Otis what to do by what not to do. Just hydrate, and I'll explain more later, and he leaves. So, just one of those, yeah. We see how Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake returned last week to help Baron Corbin. Which, by the way, we all should have realized. I don't know why I never thought this before. We all should have realized eventually he was going to get the name King Corbin. Because his name was Baron Corbin. The Baron is in that lineage somewhere. See how Blake and Cutler helped him win against Murphy. Obviously, this is probably going to lead to a 6-man tag match at TLC. Says last week he was perfect. He couldn't have asked them to help do a better job. Alice Aston walked up and she start with the security wand. They let her proceed to talk to Corbin. She asked about it last week. He praises Cutler and Blake and says it's King is bringing back an old school attitude. These boys are the Knights of the Lone Wolf, and they're no family like the Mysterios. There's no family drama or love story or get in the way. Says these players the ruthless, cold-blooded loyalty to this king. So if Ray wants to step up, that's fine. He can bring his dopey son and his redheaded stepchild Murphy next time, but next time the consequences will be severe. And you're wondering, where is Jackson Riker? He was on Main Event this week, apparently, walking with Elias. What does that mean for his career? I don't know. But he made a pro-Trump tweet earlier this year and got taken off of TV, which is fucking stupid. They can't fire him for it because that would be against the law, and he would have them sued so badly they would be out of business. Women's title match: Carmella versus Sasha Banks. This should have never been a match tonight, but thankfully, so before the match they do give us the shit before next week. As I said before, tag team title match: Bianca Belair versus Bayley as well. And so Carmella's got a new entrance, which I knew her theme was not going to last because it was produced probably by CFOs, and WWE wants to get rid of all themes done by CFOs on the main roster. If it's in NXT, I think the deal between CFOs and NXT and WWE are two different things. When it's in NXT, it's like a small cut, but when they go to the main roster, CFOs would get a bigger cut. So WWE's like, we don't want those up here. That's why Keith Lee lost his theme. Seth Rollins got a new theme. And everyone under the sun has got a new theme, except for Robert Roode. His is still glorious, and it should stay Glorious Domination. That is theme set for him. But the vast majority of this match, they had Carmella beat up on Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks did everything she could to fight, Carmella saying, I'm the boss, I'm untouchable, you're not on my level. Like, of course she's not on your level, Carmella. She's not on your level because she's 7 steps above your level. So, basically, okay, so the black gentleman, Tommy, is out there with champagne and everything. And I noticed towards the middle of the match, he's holding a bottle of champagne in his hand. Towards the end of the match, Sasha Banks is going for the bank statement, or has her in the bank statement. Tommy throws the bottle in, pulls, while the referee Charles Robinson has the bottle, takes it away. He pulls Sasha Banks out. Sasha Banks is not happy, goes after him. And I'm thinking, here we go. They're going to fuck Sasha Banks over and give the title to Carmella. Well, they tried to do that, it looks like, but Sasha Banks is like, I ain't having any of this shit. Goes ham all over Carmella in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Referee counts to 5. Bell rings, and Sasha Banks is DQ'd. So, when Carmella finally gets her bearings and is able to, she knocks Sasha Banks out of the ring and beats the hell out of her out there, grabs a hopefully gimmick bottle of wine, smashes over her back, sips some wine of her own, and then just ends SmackDown that way, winning the match by disqualification, but not winning the championship. So, this match is going to happen at TLC regardless. Will it be a singles match? Probably. Will it be a normal non-stipulation match? Probably not. You're not going to go from this match having no stipulation and that bullshit finish to having just a normal singles match. They're probably going to do a tables match or a ladder match or a chairs match, whatever. But this is not over, obviously. They're going to go somewhere else. Do I really care to see Sasha Banks go against Carmella? No. Sasha Banks is 7, 8 steps ahead of Carmella. But that is your SmackDown review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Parler The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance Club. Find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys on Monday for Raw. And again, fuck Twitter. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.